gonna be making a what if Mongolia formed an empire. In this video,
You can use that same format,
since
except
Mongolia is surrounded by big powers like Russia and China, Mongolia is going to be a buff to it, with its military and economy and a bit of population being buffed. So let's get into the video. With Mongolia wanting to buy this
unincorporated territory with no voting rights or representation. Why the freak am I here? I'm just a rep.
Well,
Wow, America and Canada are really
I must say,
they're brothers. They must despise each other, but nothing has ever ripped us apart and separate we two. We're one big Nordic family. Aw, was it something I said? There's definitely a rivalry between Sweden and Finland, that's for sure. Sweden and basically all the Nordics, to be honest. Denmark doesn't like them either. I would say as of this year, though, the intensity of the rivalry, the new rivalry between the Canadians and USA has
Mongolia requested by this for 10 trillion. China accepts.
NHL All-Stars. This is one of the greatest decisions maybe the Hockey League has ever done. We need to have more nation face-offs. Finland loves Sweden like one loves a brother or sister, not by choice, but out of necessity. Canada's went over the USA. They brought in over 16 million viewers. I'm not even a big hockey
With them actually buying this area.
About it. I made AI chip. I make AI chip, but cheaper. I'll do tariffs on you. I do tariffs back. I'll get to the moon first. No, I will. Playing hard to get, huh? I'll win you over someday. America, where can I get more of this? Oh, is that Pepsi? Pepsi or yeah, the Soviets did like that. Is this referring to like the new Cold War 2.0 with China and talking about the old one with the Soviets? So basically, we're in a new Cold War essentially, but this time with a different communist power. That's the Chinese. But it's like this weird
Mongolia buying this area
thing
so
where
they
they
can
actually
soon go
love China, just like we
against Kazakhstan.
I mean, if we
But first
have a
they need to
space race, then that
go
is
against
guarantee, Cold
their
War. This is going to be a very different
make their
Cold War,
economy
though.
better because they just brought
the one that took place
out
in
a good bit of their economy.
This is the problem with
Both them having a bit more population and well,
any country around the world. When America and China
looking
marry,
bigger.
then the aliens will
Probably
USA certainly has a type. We love being attracted.
maybe the size of
we like those like
that
marriages, I think, that are
of
very
this.
argumentative, just like old times again. History repeats itself. I'm gonna say it again. Can't even get through a video without saying it twice. You're my colony now. You're inferior. No, I'm independent.
After a couple decades, Mongolia's economy going good, and they have a good bit of resources. They go to war with Kazakhstan.
In spite of war crimes and never being punished. Wait, Poland is now rich also? Germany, you think I can never enter rich? Wrong. Poland is no more a poop poor. So, you have nothing to say to me, Germany? Guess I is sorry for my colonization of you, then. Well, I appreciate you finally making an apology, but it takes too long. Now you must give reparations. Germany? Oh, why you suddenly shift right? Evil Poland is trying to dominate my society. Danzig is Deutsch. I did nothing wrong. I poor victim of war. About 20 years later, hey Poland, why don't you forgive Germany and get along now? Why not despise them so many? No, why should I forgive them? Germany, no apology and reparations. Gosh, you're still holding a grudge. They've already apologized. What else do you want more? Yes, please, Poland. You and Germany are the same team. We should be together. May God bless you. Holy saint. Let's remove into watch film
and Mongolia sending a secret force
in a parallel universe
disguised as Kazakh force all the way over here.
Watch film and manga about the Imperial Japanese. Oh, meanwhile, over here with South Korea sign. So this is trying to show
with the Mongols
the current
secretly
German and
putting
Poland relations.
a little
And maybe why it's
area
still
here.
so spicy. I do like the end panel talking about like if we saw the same thing in Asia with South Korea and Japan. The attitude of Germany towards their war crimes is the same as that of Japan in real world. Oh, okay, I get it. While people in World War III are generally well aware that Japan committed a lot of bad war crimes in WW2, there's still people that Japan should be forgiven. They've already apologized or things like this. That's interesting because I did see this part with the much comfort. I did think of Korea. I just thought it was like a weird, mistake for the. I don't know. I just didn't think it was gonna be that historically accurate, but it's football, But yeah, that part there made me think of Japan and Korea. Korea and Poland, the most civil countries. South Korea, apologize now. Japan, no, with their flag. The thing is, Poland does still ask Germany for reparations. That's what kind of threw me off. It's complicated because Germany and Poland do still to this day have like a tough situationship, but it's certainly not as tough as South Korea and Japan still. And they're in a very different situation, obviously, over there in Asia, where they have this growing, super massively powerful China, like both on their doorstep. So they're really forced to play nice with each other.
Having to surrender, hoping to not lose too much land.
This video, check out that makeshift link down below to see what countries are still around if Texas and California are gone, or if you want these, check out these, and please don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
And with the borders, new borders being...
Is this
Wait, no, it's a video inside of a video.
Well,
It's a video inside of a video inside of a video.
All from
look at this by
the end of 2024, the
zombie epidemic has spread across the entire world. Look at this.
Well,
1.5 billion.
almost the entire
I think we already knew that.
continent
But
of
again, there's
Asia.
going to be certain areas that.
Without soon gonna have to thicken up their borders. They attack.
I'm too far away from Russian Siberia.
Attack.
Well, LA over there, but I'd probably just settle for like the Canadian wilderness.
Italy
became the first nation to completely fall to the virus.
All this.
Not everyone on this land perished.
And there's also a secondary invasion going on in like Normandy, France, or something like that, or it's in the lowlands, somewhere around there.
The fortress of San Marino continues to resist.
Well,
makes sense that the San Marino city-state would be able to.
Well, and with them wiping out the area relatively fast, maybe in a couple weeks, maybe even a month.
Have more fortresses. I mean, France, Germany. It's kind of hard. I've dived into like how to define castles. There are not always fortified areas. You would think they would be, but not necessarily. San Marino looks pretty good.
The military personnel managed to survive.
With the Mongols,
they don't know it.
Thickening up their border up here.
But
over here,
how zombies act,
but they're not gonna attack the fortress of this nation. They're literally called the graveyard of empires. Why would you attack them?
Unless there are people that are sneaking out at night. Well, zombies.
The problem ain't getting capturing them.
Or maybe
it's holding on to them.
Food, but
just the pure amount of guerrilla warfare that would happen after you take them. Since the treaty has expired, they once again go to war.
There's a finite amount of them. Like,
with Kazakhstan.
I would not be just spraying the zombies out there, that's for sure. You're also in Italy.
With them quickly taking out
populated area. They're in San Marino, but relatively populated area. There's probably an unlimited amount of zombies right now on the Italian peninsula. I wouldn't be wasting these bullets right now. In fact, I might be trying to eat them. That might be a better plan. That's a way better. Okay, San Marino got. This is why San Marino would be able to hold off for so long. Stab them. Do not use any resources. Oh my gosh.
Good, so because they got all of Central Asia. Practically all the stands except
I don't think I would do that, but
which are very strong.
Is made out of a lot of wood resources, it appears.
Especially, Afghanistan, I want to call it really strong. I would call it really defensible and really hard to occupy for a long time.
Is there any contact with the outside world? No, Sam.
I mean, like I kind
just don't mind that noise.
Kind of push humans to fight war, to warfare. Back in the day, like it kind of pushes us back to like 500-600 years ago, 700 years ago, 1,000 years ago, even thousands. The Italians historically did pretty good when you did put them in a situation where they're now like having to fight more medieval wars, or especially the ancient wars of the Roman times. After the Roman Empire fell, the Italians were pretty divided up. It took them the whole 1,000 years to reunify their peninsula. But I do think that historically speaking, the Romans or the Italians have a lot of experience fighting things like this.
Maybe the world is gone and we're the last ones. I really hope not.
Remember that what makes Italy so powerful is their geographical location, being in the heart of the Mediterranean, easily able to make boats and trade with surrounding areas that hold massive inland. They were situated right in the very middle.
Access to the Black Sea, which has access to the Mediterranean, so now they can trade better.
Like straight up.
We won't survive this siege.
See, it is a siege. Literally.
We need to leave.
Not surpassing Russia,
there's a but We head there and take
Mongolia
the ship to Croatia.
still going to war with Russia.
Croatia. San Marino is not that far away from the coast, so I can see how
As
this
the
could be
Russian-Ukrainian
doable.
war
I don't know if
goes
I want to
on.
go to Croatia, though. This does go in line with basically what I was talking about how these tiny peninsulas smack down in the middle of the Mediterranean. So that's kind of what made them so geographically OP historically.
Happening. What's this being about?
And what guarantees that zombies won't be waiting for us there?
What a
Do
fun
you have a better idea?
journey.
Mission. Gather all the weapons we have.
Oh, they're using the old helmets and things. Again, they're going to have to go old Roman strategies. There's a bazooka.
What's this happening?
Fix the floor with the stock grip with the armor, and then...
This being
Well, hold on.
practically the
Did you
war.
hear that? No, the
And
plants.
Siberia
The plants and zombies.
is feeling like is
What is this?
protesting. Siberia in the Russian Far East.
Oh, crap. What the?
They start to protest.
What is that?
With Siberia
Not the sea.
rebelling, helping the Mongols and the Ukrainians out.
I'm really liking the way this is building up there.
And with the Russians, with this being a surprise
God, are we really gonna be
to the Russians because they didn't care about Siberia too much. They just cared about their resources. Mongolia starts an offensive into Russia.
You took my land from me.
What's this happening?
You took my people from me.
Is this the Godfather
You
reference?
came into my home and did it without respect.
And what's this happening?
Oh, dang.
You owe me for this.
Dang, the Mafia being bigger than ever. They know how to make movements
And
underground.
And Russia's starting to fall. Russia sends practically their entire army over to Siberia.
Oh my, what the heck is that?
With Siberia starting to be pushed back a lot, but Ukraine pushing back.
I don't think you're gonna be able to stab that thing. Does it explode? Is it one of those just like...
Because of this.
Well, San Marino's done.
And
with
the
Alexa devices from sound powers.
Ukraine starting
something out of
to fall.
like a Minecraft mod. Alright, we're gonna have to escape to Croatia now.
And Russia actually
there we go.
falling.
We got shields on.
Surprisingly, because the Mongols and Siberians and a bit of the Russians, the Ukrainians.
Is that gonna be worth it? Oh, nice. He opened his mouth right. That's the perfect time.
With after a good bit, Russia falls.
Things like that.
And the treaty is Mongols having this fourth treaty. Siberia is broken free. Ukraine gains land.
I love that they went through with it though. Like I feel like every
And
single
Russia
a lot of zombies, not every single one, but a lot of them would have done that scene, and then like something would have happened, and it would have like made the UN think twice, and then they wouldn't have ended up dropping the nuke. No,
this is what is ready.
I want to know
what is left of Russia.
Sorry, but
with the Mongols actually being a giant. They can go across.
So they're launching it from a submarine.
I think maybe that may be called actually the Black Sea. Yeah, they can go across the Black Sea.
For a good amount, but probably not forever. And I just don't want to be a part of the submarine crew in general. I'm just going to be honest. So they probably already were parked off the Italian peninsula.
But they do not go to war with Turkey.
Now, I remember the zombies were able to walk in the water. That's probably not going like under the water and like the very bottom. I don't think the zombies are going to be able to impact a massive submarine. In fact, someone needs to do the sonar. If they ever find like a horde of zombies at the bottom of the ocean, they can hit that like submarine sonar.
Yes, the two genders, woman and planes. There's no other gender out there.
Horrifying.
Sorry about that. That was my brother.
What happens when you hit the? Because it blows up whales. Right?
Remember.
With about, like, the Black Sea being the only barrier that blocks Mongolia from its colony, Mongolia becomes the third most strongest nation on Earth. Oh yeah, by the way, it's like, I don't know, 2082 right now.
The freaking Pope survived, and the Pope is surviving.
Well, this happened.
And he's holding an Italian flag. Okay, well, I see the Colosseum is behind him, but how of all the... Okay, anyways.
Be able to restore life.
I'm pretty sure this was made before Pope Francis fell, so,
well, you know.
So, and
but these areas being quickly destroyed and taken into the gigantic colony.
That's crazy.
They're in Europe. They're in Asia.
Mafia and the Pope
They're not in Africa, the Americas, Oceania. The closest one would be Africa.
Which was once a paradise in Turkey, has now turned into hell.
Interesting.
With them attacking Tunisia, which dies. I do not know too much about Tunisia. Sorry if there's like a couple people from Tunisia watching. I just do not know.
I'm glad that we're covering another peninsula, not just the Italian peninsula.
With them going to war with Madagascar
But
too.
the zombie virus has already spread beyond the quarantine zone.
I do like Turkey's chances. Remember that Turkey, I believe, has some of the most...
With the influence being about in this entire area, technically,
maybe this is the reason
this kinda connects because of the canal,
back into the spotlight.
but this doesn't. But this does too.
Is this a bunker? This reminds
With
me
the
of how...
influence being all the way on the entire
This reminds me of how the Albanians have like 3
Eastern Hemisphere and a bit of the Western Hemisphere.
I want to see how they would do against the zombie apocalypse, because also a nation that has coastal territory in the Mediterranean. I'm sure the zombies are invading Albania right now. With all those bunkers, they might be set. They could put all their people in those bunkers.
With not this, but maybe
for every like 5 Albanians or something like that, right?
this. This is about the entire.
World War II would not be fun. You get shot.
They have.
I don't know. Maybe that's just the video games, but flamethrower units
This
in a zombie apocalypse like this,
all
man.
this.
What are the zombies gonna do? They're gonna be completely OP.
With them going over 2 entire hemispheres.
Got it out with the
In their influence, not entire, but 2 hemispheres.
Vietnam still has all those tunnels.
They don't go to war with Australia. They go to war with New Zealand.
Zombies can easily go down those tunnels. Would you want to be in those really tight tunnels?
Remember what Mom said?
Absolutely destroying.
Ever seen like the
And
the tunnels the Vietnamese had? Yeah, they had like a whole
destroyed
hospital
actually.
down there. Was there like a
So
you can do a lot of things with tunnels. Humans, we're gonna have to become mole people. We probably will. And I think we did all right with this. And apparently Turkey has embraced that. They probably didn't even need to be mole people at this point, but they've embraced it. They already got a hospital down there. Let's keep it going.
what's the sphere of influence being about in this area? In this entire area.
What else is there?
This is about the end of the Mongol Empire. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.
Hayden.